Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to break down a really powerful way to think about transforming your mind. How to move from that state of just constantly reacting to everything to a place of real conscious calm.
All right, let's just dive right in with a pretty fundamental question. It's something we all face, whether we're aware of it or not. Think about it. Every single moment, every choice you make is being influenced by some part of your mind. So, which part is really in control?
So at the very heart of this whole philosophy is this kind of conflict, right? There are these two competing forces inside all of us. On one side, you've got what's called the worldly intellect. This is the part of you that's super reactive, it's impulsive, and it's always looking outside for approval. But then on the other side, you have the wisdom intellect. And that's the calm, conscious part, the one that's focused inward. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper here and really break down what these two opposing intellects are all about. Because honestly, just understanding the difference between them, that's the absolute first step toward being able to choose which one is going to lead your life. So first up, we have the worldly intellect. A good way to think about this is it's like your mind's default setting, the factory settings. It's that impulsive, survival-driven part of you. It's what makes a baby cry when it's hungry or makes you jump back when you're startled. Now, it's totally essential for just, basic survival, but it's also the source of so much of our anxiety because it's always chasing things outside of ourselves for happiness. And what's really fascinating here is the limitation this points out. You can have a super high IQ, be incredibly successful, have all the money in the world, but none of that makes you immune to frustration or unhappiness. And why is that? It's because the worldly intellect, it doesn't matter how smart it is, it just isn't built to create lasting inner peace. It's not its job. So, the alternative? That's the wisdom intellect. And this is the key. You're not born with this one. Think of it like a higher level operating system that you have to consciously install and then cultivate over time. And its core idea is, honestly, revolutionary. That real, permanent peace, it's not something you find out there. Nope, it's an internal state you can tap into no matter what's going on around you. And this quote, wow, it just perfectly illustrates the difference, doesn't it? The worldly intellect gets attached to an idea like, this winter blanket keeps me comfortable. And then it just clings to that habit, even when it's the middle of summer and it makes zero sense. The wisdom intellect, though, it can take a step back and reflect and say, hey, that was great then, but I don't need it now. It knows when it's time to let go. So this is a really crucial point. The goal here isn't to declare war on your default mind and try to eliminate it. You need that worldly intellect. It's what tells you you're hungry or, that you need to find a restroom. The real goal is to put the wisdom intellect in the driver's seat. So the worldly intellect might say, I need a restroom. But the wisdom intellect is the one that consciously decides which one to go to and how to get there. Okay, so the big question is, how do we actually do that? How do we make that shift and hand the controls over to the wisdom intellect? Well, that brings us to a really practical step-by-step path designed to do exactly that. What you're looking at here is basically a series of preparatory steps, and each one of these, from just being aware of your posture to letting go of tension to using a mantra, it's all designed to do one thing: turn your mind's focus from outward to inward. It's about quieting all that chatter from the worldly intellect so you can create the space for that deeper wisdom to actually come through. And here is the absolute key. None of these steps are rocket science, right? They're not super complicated, but their real power, that comes from consistency. This is not a one-and-done kind of fix. It's really about building a new mental muscle. And just like going to the gym, it's the daily practice that leads to real, lasting change. Now, this whole journey of kind of rewiring the mind, it's an ancient one, and it's something that's very rarely done alone. In fact, within this tradition, the role of a guide or a teacher is seen as absolutely critical. So a teacher's job here isn't to come up with brand new ideas. Not at all. Their main role is to basically act as a channel, faithfully passing down a tradition that's been tested for 10,000 years. They're the ones who provide the map, the why behind it all, to help you navigate your own mind and make that huge shift from the worldly to the wisdom intellect. I love this analogy because it just captures the whole thing perfectly. Your worldly intellect is full of ego, right? It loves to shout, no, I know a shortcut, and make you turn left when the GPS, the proven path, is telling you to turn right. Following guidance is all about trusting a map that has already led tons of other people to the exact destination you're trying to reach.
But of course, for that guidance to actually work, it's a two-way street. The person practicing has to be open to receiving it, and that means cultivating these four qualities right here. You'll notice each one of them is a direct challenge to the worldly intellect's favorite thing to say, which is, "Oh, I already know this." Humility and receptivity, those are the keys that really unlock the door.
Okay, but what does this all feel like in practice? Does this stuff actually work in real life? Let's take a look at what some of the people who are actively doing this practice have to say about it. So one participant, Sophie, she described a really tangible result she's getting from this. She talks about a space opening up and getting some distance from thoughts. That right there is the wisdom intellect in action. It's that ability to just watch your thoughts go by without getting totally swept away by them. And that little bit of space, that's where the peace is. And Charlie's comment here really gets to the core of the whole mindset shift. He totally nails the trap of that worldly intellect's arrogance, that whole "I know" attitude. And instead, he's consciously choosing the wisdom intellect's path, which is all about curiosity. It's about saying, you know what? I don't know. Let me find out.
And what these reflections really show is that this isn't just something you do all by yourself in a quiet room. Being part of a community with other people on the exact same path, sharing what you're learning, talking about the struggles, that provides such essential support. It really helps you stick with it. And this journey is supported by a community structure that's really built on fairness and commitment. So to make sure the teaching can continue and stays accessible for everyone who's dedicated, there's a simple, standardized monthly fee. So let's just end with this question for you to think about. Your mind is always going to have thoughts. That's just what it does. It's like the sky will always have clouds. The real question is this: do you identify more with the passing storm, with all those chaotic thoughts? Or do you identify with the calm, vast sky that's holding it all? And what do you think might change if you made a conscious choice to shift that balance?